Hey there, it's John and James with Tell Me Now. We're here to bring you a couple stories today, go over some of the news with you. Happy you guys could join us. This is my partner John. We're going to go over 3 stories today, including the infamous James Comey memo that's come out implicating that Trump possibly pushed him to let go of the Michael Flynn investigation. We're also going to talk about various calls for impeachment of the president, and we're also going to go over the latest incident for United Airlines, the embattled airline that just can't seem to get away from a PR mess. So if you guys want to ask us questions, we'll answer questions at the end for you. But for now, let's go into the first story.
Yeah, so the biggest story of this week has been this James Comey memo that was first revealed by the New York Times. But the biggest thing about this in the New York Times story is they have absolutely no idea that this memo even exists. Their entire report is based off of like these 2 anonymous sources that supposedly like
are privy to this memo.
Yeah, they heard like a transcript of the memo, and then the idea is that the memo itself is something that's written by Comey, like saying what he thought President Trump said in a discussion that he had. And this is James Comey, the embattled at the time he was the embattled FBI director, who was pretty much hated by the entire American populace and both sides of the aisle. Both Democrats and Republicans were calling for this guy to like step aside because he pretty much ruined the entire reputation of the FBI during the campaign and the months following.
Yeah, so he comes out with this memo, or these anonymous sources leaked this memo to the New York Times, alleging that Trump pushed Comey to let go of the Michael Flynn investigation, which stems from all the Russian allegations. Now, like John said, this was not based on anything. This was anonymous sources literally reading off a supposedly existing piece of paper to New York Times reporters. Didn't exist. There's no actual proof that this thing is out there. And yet the New York Times runs it like it's a real story. CNN and all the other mainstream outlets take it up, pretend it's a real story, and now Trump's once again under fire for something that hasn't been proven, isn't substantiated. And if you look on Tell Me Now today...
Yeah, we got a story titled, "Former FBI Director James Comey testified under oath Trump never pressured him to drop the Flynn investigation." So James Comey was on live television, broadcast around the world on C-SPAN. We all saw James Comey literally tell the world that President Trump had not pressured him to end the investigation. So this entire memo is just absolute BS. I mean, it's just a complete concoction that James Comey himself denounced before this memo story even occurred. It's just absolutely ridiculous.
So he's kind of in hot water either way. Either he lied under oath, which of course is a crime, but a lot of officials that lie under oath.
Yeah, we've seen James Clapper do that before.
Yeah, didn't go to jail. Nothing happens to him, unlike normal people, but that's okay. Anyway, so either he lied under oath, or this memo exists and he's helping leak information. So either way, it looks pretty bad for Comey. But that doesn't stop the mainstream media from reporting on it, or from other lawmakers calling for Trump's impeachment.
But before we get to them, it wasn't just James Comey who himself pretty much denies the existence of this memo, or maybe not the existence of the memo, but the meat of the memo story. But the current acting FBI director, his name's Andrew McCabe, he also denied that President Trump pressured the FBI to end the investigation. And this was also in a Senate testimony where Senator Marco Rubio actually asked him, "Mr. McCabe, can you, without going into the specific of any individual investigation, I think the American people want to know, has the dismissal of Mr. Comey in any way impeded, interrupted, stopped, or negatively impacted any of the work, any investigation, or any ongoing projects at the Federal Bureau of Investigations?" And Andrew McCabe, the acting FBI director, responded, "As you know, Senator, the work of the men and women of the FBI continues despite any changes in circumstance, any decisions. So there has been no effort to impede our investigation today." Let me repeat that last sentence. There has been no effort to impede our investigation today, which completely contradicts this bogus New York Times Comey memo story that says that Trump tried to end an investigation. So, but we have both when James Comey was the FBI director, he specifically said that there was no one trying to impede an investigation, and then after Comey was fired by Trump, the acting FBI director confirmed that story to Senator Marco Rubio in a Senate hearing. But that doesn't matter because we have these wackos in the media, from the New York Times, Washington Post, you name it, all the mainstream media pretty much ran with the story, and we're like, oh, our anonymous sources corroborate the New York Times piece, and then what happens is you start seeing lawmakers who literally have zero evidence starting to make these ridiculous calls for impeachment.
Right. So, a number of lawmakers have called for impeachment of President Trump this week, including Michigan Representative Justin Amash and two other backbenchers we never even heard of. So one of them was a Democrat, Al Green. The other one's a Republican from Florida. Neither of them have any actual stature or authority. They're just basic lawmakers that have no backing. But now they're calling for Trump's impeachment, trying to become famous, trying to build up their name brand, trying to probably attract donors. It's sad story.
In fact, they're actually going to the media saying, no, it wasn't Justin Amash who was the first Republican to suggest impeachment.
Right.
It was me, Congressman Carlos Curbelo from Florida. I mean, he literally, like, after a number of stories were run saying that Justin Amash was the first Republican to suggest the idea of impeachment, Curbelo literally had a spokesman send an email to the left-wing Mother Jones saying Congressman Curbelo was actually the first Republican to mention impeachment. Like, what is this insanity? Why are you trying to brag about impeaching the sitting president of the United States of America for absolutely bogus claims? Yeah.
Yeah. It's it's a pathetic competition between them saying, no, I'm first to suggest impeachment. No, I'm first to suggest impeachment. The reason that this is terrible, these guys, Amash,
it's infuriating.
There's supposed to be Republicans in backing the president, and here they are teaming up with the Democrats, trying to virtue signal and become, very good Democrat pleasers, and they're terrible. Well, they're terrible. They're traitors.
It's not just the Democrats that they're signaling to. It's the media.
Right.
And
they want to be the media's darlings.
Yeah, they want to be loved by all these like people who are part of the swamp in New York City and Washington D.C.
Right.
These like East Coast losers. That just have just been draining us.
Yeah, it's terrible. And of course, the Democrat is a good pal of Maxine Waters and Nancy Pelosi. So of course, he's off his handle and wacko. So, it was only a matter of time before the Democrats came out calling for impeachment. They did it under Bush. They got 4 months in for Trump before they started calling for it? It's terrible.
The Democrats were quicker than that, I think. I mean, Maxine Waters has been spouting her mouth for a long time.
That's true. I think she was calling for impeachment even before Trump took office. That's how crazy she is.
Yeah. But do you want to get into this United Airlines? I mean, I don't know what these people are thinking.
What is wrong with this airline?
Yeah.
First of all, you had the big incident a month or so ago with the doctor being dragged off the plane against his will. That created a whole disaster for the airline.
And they got sued.
Now you got this other, you have a returning U.S. soldier who had done multiple tours in Afghanistan. He was coming back after being away
21 months.
21 months. Almost 2 years from his home country. He's coming back, and not only did they charge him, but they charged some of his other platoon mates with a $200 overnight baggage fee or something like that for his overnight bag, for his equipment. Now, this guy's over there fighting for this country, and United Airlines wants $200 from him because he has to transport his military equipment home. Now, a lot of these guys that are over there, they're on a very strict stipend, a very strict budget. They're sending all their money back to their families. This is a big bite against his budget. So it's terrible. I don't understand how you could just charge a returning soldier who has been over there fighting for your freedom $200 just to carry the guy's bag.
Yeah, he's putting his life on the line day in and day out for 21 months in Afghanistan, fighting the terrorists over there who are they're not only raising terrorists to fight and kill us, But if you know anything about Afghanistan, it's one of the largest areas of opioid development, of opioid growth. So he's also fighting like this monsoon of drugs that's pretty much like been sweeping our country. So he's fighting like two different wars over there, and United Airlines is asking, hey, you need to give us $200 so you can transport your gear back home. That's absolutely ridiculous and absurd and completely unacceptable.
It's disgraceful to treat soldiers like that returning home. Well, I mean, that's, United, it's the airlines just having a lot of issues lately, and a lot of airlines are having issues lately. It just doesn't do well for their image, so they'll pay for it. They'll pay for it in decreased sales.
No, and this is First Lieutenant, here you can see him on the screen, First Lieutenant John Rader, who was Army National Guard, who's the man who was charged by United $200 to bring his equipment back from Afghanistan.
Yeah, sad.
All right. Well, I don't see any questions. So thanks everyone for tuning in.
Yes, thank you for tuning in.
We love everything.
Yeah, we love you guys. We love trying to make you guys informed, trying to bring you the latest stories. So if you turn in next week, hopefully we'll be back. And thanks again.